Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the last lecture of today. Today we are going to discuss a crafting message for electronic media. And before discussing, let me introduce myself. My name is Abdul Hafiz and I'm the lecturer in Rafa International College Peshawar. And this is the course English 2. And why this is the last lecture? Because your midterm course will be completed. So thank you so much for watching this video in advance, and you must watch this video. This video is composed of two or three parts that will be discussed later on, but let's start this lecture. And today we are going to talk about crafting message for electronic media. So, before going to start deeply, we will discuss what is business communication and what are the importance of business communication. Okay, so business communication. Business communication is information sharing between people within and outside an organization that is performed for the commercial benefit of the organization. I hope it is quite easy, so you will get the point that what is actually business communication. Business communication is the information sharing process between the people within the organization and outside the organization that is performed for the benefit, for the commercial benefit of the organization. So, for a business to run successfully and exhibit growth, it is important to lay emphasis on the way it communicates to its customers, as well as ensure effective communication within the organization. So, the ability to communicate and communicate well is important factor. It is an important factor in business success. So it means that the importance of communication is actually quite important while performing a communication with the customers throughout the business within the organization and outside the organization as well. So these are the business communication importance, and let's discuss thoroughly. Let's come to the topic, and that topic is electronic media for business communication. So electronic communication, actually, we will discuss it quite simply and quite thoroughly, and after that we will have a discussion over it again and again. So. Electronic communication can be achieved by finding the right tool for communication, just as email, instant messaging, websites, blogs, text messaging, voicemails, and video messaging are a few examples of electronic communication. And there are many other communication sectors, just as social media such as Facebook are the electronic media that empower stakeholders as participants in the communication process by allowing them to share content, revise content, respond to content, and contribute to new content. So quite a bit of attention get paid to specific tools and techniques in social and other electronic media. But the most important changes, we can say, and the specific tools and technologies in social media and other electronic medias are just like we have the social communication model in chapter 1, as we have already discussed. So these technologies have changed the relationship between companies and their stakeholders, influenced the way companies are managed, and altered the behaviors and expectations of the customers and employees. So, for instance, Many people now rely heavily on content sharing through social media tools to get information of personal and professional interest. Additionally, many customers and professionals frequently engage in content snacking, consuming large number of small pieces of information and bypass large documents that might require more than a few minutes and even a few seconds to read. So, moreover, the amount of content accessed from mobile device with the challenges they present in terms of screen size and encryption mechanism continue to rise. Faced with such behavior, communicators need to be more careful than ever to create audience focused messages and to consider restructuring messages using more teasers or orientations and summaries. So, with all these changes taking place, the field of business communication is a lot more interesting, but also a lot more complicated as well. Why? Because, for example, newer and smaller firms have a better opportunity to compete against big companies with big media budgets. Because the quality of the message and the credibility of the sender are supremely important in this new environment. So empowered stakeholders can use amplifying power of social media to help companies that appear to be acting in their best interests and harm companies that are not. So social media also have the potential to increase transparency with more eyes and ears to monitor business activities and to use crowd's voice to demand accountability and change. So, throughout social media, if you look at this, so although social media have reduced the amount of controlled businesses and have ever the content and the process of communication. So today's companies are learning how to adapt their communication efforts to these new social medias landscape and welcome customers' participation. So social media are also revolutionizing internal communication, breaking down traditional barriers and organizational hierarchy, and promoting a flow of information and ideas, and enabling networks of individuals and organizations to collaborate on the global scale. So, increasingly, employees expect the leaders in their organizations to be active in social media. And one recent study, more than 80% of US employees agreed that CEOs who engage in social media are better equipped than their peers to lead company. In web world actually. So, moreover, roughly the same percentage are more likely to trust companies whose leadership teams engage with the stakeholders with social media, and they would prefer to work for such company as well. All right, let's come to the next slide. Media choices for brief message. Social media are not the only option available for business communication, of course. Individuals and companies have a broad range of options for sending their brief messages, as we have social networks, information and media sharing sites, emails, and instant messaging, just as IM, text messaging, blogging and microblogging and broadcasting. So these are the actually content of social media. All right, let's discuss creating content for social media. So before going to make a content, we have to know, or a business leader has to know some of the things while creating content for social media. Number first is remember that it is conversation, not a lecture or self-help. I hope you understand this point that it is actually a conversation. It is not a lecture, or you are not actually selling something. Write informally but not carelessly. Like you are allowed to speak informally with the customers, but you are not allowed to speak carelessly while hurting your audiences, or you are not expecting to say something that your audience expect from you. So create concise, specific and informative headlines. If you are giving headlines, so that could be concise, specific and informative. Okay, so the next point is get involved and stay involved. So you have to get involved in the while creating content. You have to be get involved in that, and you have to stay involved while the customers will ask questions regarding this content for social media. So in the social media, if you are gaining your customers, so the customers will obviously ask different types of questions, and you have to stay involved in that. Be transparent and honest. So you have to be transparent and honest enough to give answers regarding your company or regarding your products. And the last point, which is quite true, that is think before you post. So you have to think twice. You have to, while you are creating content for social media, you have to think twice before you post on social media. So that is quite much important. Why? Because you should avoid all those carelessly words, and you should involve and you should be honest while posting it. If we briefly discuss these points, so no matter what media or compositional mode you are using for a particular message, writing for social media requires a different approach than traditional media actually. So whether you are writing a vlog or posting a product demonstration video on YouTube, consider these tips of creating successful content for social media. So, as I have already discussed, remember that it is conversation, not a lecture or self-pic. What is actually here? What is the concept behind this? And that is like one of the great appeals of social media is feeling of conversation, of people talking with one another instead of one person talking at everyone else. So for all their technical or technological satisfaction, and we can say sophistication in an important sense, social media are rarely a new skin an age or practice of word of mouth communication. So as more and more people gain a voice in the marketplace, companies that try to maintain the old we talk, you listen mindset are likely to be ignored in the social media landscape. If you look at the second point, write informally but not carelessly, it means that write as a human being with a unique and personal voice. However, Don't take this as a license to get sloppy. No one wants to slog through misspelled word or half-baked sentences to find your message. If you look at the create concise, specific, and informative headlines, so it means that given the importance of headlines in the face of content, so snagging and information overload, headlines are extremely important in social media. So avoid the temptation to engage in clever wordplay when writing headlines and teasers. Okay, if you look at another point, that is get involved and stay involved. So it means that social media make some business people nervous because they don't permit a high level of control over messages. Why? Because, however, you should not hide from the criticism. Take the opportunity to correct misinformation and explain how mistakes will be fixed. As I told you before, that the customers will ask different types of questions regarding your company, regarding your messages, and regarding your information. Okay, if you look at the be transparent and honest, it means that honesty is always essential, of course. But the social media actually environment is unforgiving. Attempts the twice the truth actually. Attempt to twice the truth. That means that withhold information or hold behind a virtual parasite. Only invite attack in the people square. So by demonstrating a willingness to talk openly and transparently about your business decisions, so the blog is just the one way we have ensured trust and confidence in our company. Such cases can be done. Okay, in the next point, think before you post. Because of the careless messages, individuals and companies have been sued. Because of the Twitter updates, employees have been fired for Facebook wall postings, vital company secrets have been leaked, and business and personal relationships have been strained. So remember that you share the responsibility of keeping your company and your customers' data private and secure. So assume that every message you send in any electronic medium will be stored forever and might be read by people far beyond your original audiences. So ask yourself two questions. First, would I say this to my audience face to face? And the second, am I comfortable with this message becoming a permanent part of my personal and professional communication history? Okay, so now in this, social media, we will discuss social media in the next part of the lecture. The first part has been completed, although we are making short parts in order to understand students. So, and in order to develop interest in minds of the students. Okay, we are going to make another part of this lecture. Kindly watch that part as well because it's going to be interesting more and more. And thank you so much for watching the first part. And let's discuss social networks in the second part. So stay tuned and thank you so much for watching the first part. Let's come to the second part. Thank you.